Hi, welcome to Leland Fly Fishing. I'm Brandon Moon. Today we're going to be tying up a really cool ant pattern we call the hovering ant. Ant are a very important food source for fish in your river systems, streams, or ponds. They're very abundant during the summer months and fish key in on them very good. The hovering ant is a cool pattern because it gives a very realistic look profile and how it sits lower in the water column like a struggling ant would as well. So that helps with it. With that, we want to go ahead and get started, and thank you for watching. The hook that we're going to be using today is the Moonlit Premium Tota ML 211. We tie these in size 14 and 16. I'm going to start my thread about the halfway point. I'm using Seer Fly Classic Wax 8/0 Floral Red. Red or black will also work very good on this. I just like the bright floral red. I'm going to wrap that down about halfway to, just about a third down that hook shank from the bend. I'm going to take a 2mm piece of foam in black that's cut to about the width of the hook gape. I'm going to create a triangle to tie that in. And then I'm going to secure that down. I'm going to make sure that I go far enough back that I cover up all that thread. We're going to build up a nice thread base to go over with so that we have a little bit of this floral red color underneath the foam. You can see I'm just making sure that I go back far enough. I'm going to pull that foam just so that it makes it easier to go back that last little bit that I needed to. Now I'm just going to take my thread wraps and create that underbody of floral red thread. Once I've done that, I'm going to go up to just be in front of the hook point there, pull my foam over to where I'm going to secure it down with a couple loose wraps. I don't want to cinch it down too tight. Once I've secured that, I'll lock it in place in the front, trim that out. I'm going to angle that foam so that it's easier for me to create a nice good point here for the middle section of your ant pattern. Now I'm going to take my floral red and I'm going to create that thinner section of the body that you see on ants. You can see I took and finished tying in that foam right there. And then I'm going to cover up and create that nice smooth body there with the floral red. This gives my fly that hot spot there in the middle. So once I've done that and create that slim profile in the middle, I'm going to take my whip finish tool and whip finish right here. Trim that out. Now I'm going to take some Seer Fly Classic Wax 12/0 black thread and start that just in front of my floral red. Trim that out. Now I'm going to take some orange poly yarn from Seer Fly. I'm going to lay that over the top and at an angle there so that I can secure that in right where I want it. There, right at the front of that body there. I can adjust it by pulling up before I secure this down with wraps in front and behind. Once I've secured that down where I want, I'm going to trim out my poly yarn so it's a little more manageable for me to work with. Once we do that, I'm going to pull that up. Got a little material in my way there, remove that. Now I'm just going to take and secure and wrap up this parachute post. And I like the bright orange so that it makes my fly a little more visible. And you can see I'm not pulling tight, and when I do pull tight, I'm going to hold that poly yarn so that it doesn't slip off that poly yarn. And we're just going to create a small little post, just about a hook eyes up the shank there. Once I've got that wrapped up, I'm going to take some super glue and I'm going to put it on my thread. And this is just going to help secure that post in place. And also, when I wrap this super glue up that post, it's going to help make that a little more firm for when I wrap my hackle. Now we've got that, I've got some grizzly hackle. I've already prepped it. I'm going to tie this in with the shiny side facing me. We'll secure that down. As I'm going to wrap up, you can see the hackle twist on me, so I'm just going to unwrap that. When I wrap this, I want the shiny side facing down, so I want to make sure this hackle doesn't rotate on me. So I'm going to secure that right there, and then I'm going to wrap up. You can see how keep holding that hackle stem up above is keeping it from rotating. Wrap it back down. Now I'm going to take my Moonlit Beaver dubbing in black, and I'm just going to take some small amount and create a dubbing noodle rope on my thread. And I'll do it in a couple small applications so I don't make my dubbing rope too thick and bulky. And this is just going to create the thorax head of this ant pattern here. Once I've got a little bit on there, roughly about 2 inches, I'm going to then wrap my thorax head of my ant forward and backwards so that I get a nice even look to that. At this point, I'm going to wrap my hackle, and I had that first piece of hackle that wraps around this post is actually going to be bare, so I trimmed that down just a little bit more, or pulled the fibers off a little bit more so that it'll wrap nice and clean. 3 wraps down the post, secure it with 1 wrap, then I'm going to put some super glue on my thread to secure the hackle post or stem to the post. Take my razor blade, I'll trim out my thread, and then I'll also trim out my hackle. This is going to create a nice clean look to my fly. Trim out my post. You can trim any fibers that are out of place, and there you have the hovering ant. Thank you for watching.